Today on How It's Made.
What it is with do people, my name is Jordan, otherwise known as Struggling to Fly, and today I want to discuss a couple of things I don't like about the TV show How It's Made. How It's Made is a Canadian TV show that broadcasted on the Science Channel, which is now the Discovery Channel, and it just goes over how everyday objects are made, from RVs to wheel loaders, ketchup and mayo, tequila, CDs, bicycles, skateboards, like anything you can think of. Just think of a random object. They've gone over how it was made or how it was manufactured. I discovered this show way back in the 80s, in like 2004, 2005. I was, on summer break as a kid. I had just gotten done watching Legends of the Hidden Temple, and I was like scrolling through the guide, and I was like, How It's Made? I was like, what is this? I clicked on it because it had just started, and I heard that sweet melody. After that, I was like, well, this is kind of interesting. Then the most calming voice comes onto the screen.
Today on How It's Made.
Bush Moore, he came on the screen. Today on How It's Made, that was it. He could, immediately I was hooked. I watched the show, all summer, obviously, along with other cartoons and stuff. But then I never watched the show again. I just never found, I don't know what happened. I just fell out of it, right? I got on one of the greatest streaming services a couple of months ago, Tubi. The first thing that popped up in the recommended was How It's Made, and it has, I think, all of How It's Made. And I was like, well, let's hop back into it. And as soon as I did, I was like, it immediately took me back. I was like, the way the show is formatted and I don't know, it's just so amazing coming back into the show. But I've watched 10 seasons so far, and I have a couple of issues that I have with the show. Just because, I'm so curious and I want more knowledge, and those are my biggest pet peeves with the show. But let's get going with the first issue that I have. So one issue I have with the show is they'll go over how something was made way back in the day, right? Prime example, the windmill. They're like, oh yeah, the windmill, we've had this thing for hundreds of years and we've used it for this, this, and this. And I'm like, cool. But they only show how it's made in the modern day. I would love if they showed how we used to make windmills, say in the 1800s, and then have that parallel of this is how we make it now. We still use maybe the same tool or maybe the same technique, but we added this machine or we added this. That would be dope. I just wish they had both of those, but it's fine. If there's a TV show about this, I would love to know about it, because I want to know how these factories are made, right? So when it comes to anything that's bottled, they all have the same steps and the same traits, from ketchup to tequila to olive oil. Anything that is bottled, very similar steps. It all makes sense, right? I just want to know how they come up with other things, right? So my prime two examples are yarn and a composite propane cylinder. The composite propane cylinder episode had me shook. They have it on this little thing, and then they have this machine come. Just let me just show you.
Simultaneously winds 12 strands of fiberglass yarn over a steel form shaped like a half cylinder. The winding pattern is very specific, strategically designed to make the cylinder walls as strong as possible.
Do you see what this machine is doing? How did you design this? How many iterations of this machine did you have to go through to get it to be perfect like this? How do you code something to do this? I have so many questions about how they made this thing. And I'm like, I want to see the part of that. What was the engineering that went into that? And then the yarn episode, I believe it's yarn. That episode is just insane because they have miles and miles of yarn, and they wind it through. And it's this is how we used to do it back in the day by hand. And
before fully automated machines like this were invented 50 years ago, all that knotting had to be done by hand.
I was like, we were winding miles of yarn by hand? It's insane to me, but it's just it's just interesting that and then it's where do you get all the room for all this stuff? I just don't get how they designed all this. It's so, I'm just curious. I need to know how all of this was designed, who came up with all this, how long did it take to get to that point? And then how do you set up new factories? I have so many questions about all of that. This last point kind of goes into my last one as well. But basically, in not every episode, but like some episodes, they'll be, showing you how something is made. And then out of nowhere, like another part that they never showed you on camera.
After a cylinder passes testing, workers install the valve, which is already connected to the overfill prevention device.
They just, and then they attach this part, and it's like, whoa, pause everything. Where did that come from? Was that special order? Is that like a part, like, where did you guys order this from someone? Did you guys make this part in-house? Like, where did this part come from? Prime example, the wheel loader episode. They show how the whole wheel loader is built, and they show all the welding and, applying all the grease and all that stuff. And then the main cab just falls from the heavens, and they're like, yep, they screwed that in. And I'm like, whoa, pause.
After assembling the cab, they install it onto the rear frame.
Where did that come from? I want to see that get built too. Like, show me the electronics of that. Show me, where did they get this cabin? How did they fabricate the metal? Like, all of this. Like, I'm interested in all of that. And they kind of gloss over it, which I'm just like, no, I need to see all this information. What's going on? So. This final point is kind of this isn't even like a real one. It's just a nitpick. I believe it was season 4 or 5. They changed the narrator from Brooks Moore to Zach Fine. Zach Fine, he doesn't do a bad job. He's a solid narrator, but like, when you used to Brooks Moore voice for a hot minute and then you switch, A, is kind of jarring. B, Zach Fine just, I don't know how to describe it. Like,
10 trailers allow you to travel without reservations. Who needs a hotel if you can park the pop-up? Besides, you don't get fresh air and campfires at a hotel. 10 trailers have been around since the early part of the 20th century, and you could describe them as an overnight success.
Tomato ketchup recipes vary only slightly, as consumers expect a certain familiar tomatoey taste. This U.S. company produces all-natural ketchup, made entirely of certified organic ingredients. Tomato paste, agave nectar,
you see what I mean? Like, Brooks Moore just got the juice, like, plain and simple. Like, Zach Fine, he cool, he not bad, but like, Brooks Moore really got the juice, and they go back to Brooks Moore at like season 7 or something. They immediately go back to him, and I'm pretty sure he narrates for the rest of the show after that. So like, it's just a little nitpick. It's not the biggest deal, but it is, like I said, it's just like, why'd y'all even switch in the first place? In the end, How It's Made is an amazing TV show, and I recommend anyone watch it if you're curious, if you just want to just see how all of this stuff happens. Obviously, everything I'm asking for, you can't put into a 24-minute TV show, but I don't care. I want to see it anyway. Also, why did the show end? Why hasn't it came back? What is going on? This is so important. Like, educational TV should never just be like canceled or put on hate. Like, what is going on? We need more episodes. I need more knowledge. But let me know in the comments below what y'all thinking. Like, have y'all heard of the show? Have you seen it? Do you have any favorite episodes? I'm only on season 10, like I said, so I still got like a ways to go, but I'm enjoying it. I love the show. Thank y'all again for watching.